Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac AFTERBIRTH Plus. I'm getting video voice. I've been talking for a long time today, but I'm not done yet. Oh, Azazel. You know what you get if you rearrange the letters in Azazel? Do I have a pen? Do I have a pen here? I'm gonna need a pen, please. If you rearrange the letters in Azazel. Lazia. Lazia. Okay, there's your seed. I don't know. I thought maybe the joke could work in some capacity. It obviously doesn't. I apologize. Yeah, it still works. I don't know if we should have just taken it sight unseen, but that's okay. The anagrams, I'm not necessarily good or bad with them, I think. But they are the source of one of my favorite Simpsons jokes, where Lisa meets the Lisa Simpson who's smarter than her, and her father plays anagrams with her and goes, you know, Alec Guinness, and then in 1 second she goes, genuine class, and then he goes, all right, Lisa, your turn. How about, Jeremy Irons? And she goes, Jeremy's iron? It's a really good joke. Then she goes, or then the dad goes, all right, well, why don't you just play with this ball then? You know what kind of, and you know, we're getting back into the scholastic days. I guess it is anagram based, but I remember one of my favorite time-killing activities they would give you in like elementary school when you were done with your work early is they would give you like an 8-letter word and be like, see how many words you can make out of this 8-letter word. That was a lot of fun. They should bring that back. I guess they do have that in, like there have been video games that have, you know, been sort of Boggle-esque. But I feel like, how did it end up being, and don't get me wrong, I like Scrabble. How did it end up becoming the case that Scrabble had such a popular, like, Facebook/mobile version of their game, and Boggle didn't? Where's the Boggle with friends? Maybe the Hasbro Corporation, they finally put their foot down before Zynga could do a fast follow. I don't know. I would play Boggle with friends. Absolutely. I would bend over backwards to play Boggle with friends. That's one of my favorite actual board games. And I gotta be honest with you, I don't get down with a lot of those classical board games. I think Monopoly sucks pretty bad. I don't want to say that I won't play it, because I think Monopoly can also be fun. But dude, when I was a kid, Monopoly was like the holy grail. If I could get my parents to play Monopoly, it was like a dream come true. It had a nice board. It was just a little thicker than all the other board games you played up to that point. Right, we can't get a deal with the devil because of the tiny room, but that's okay. You know, I swear to you, everybody's like, what Monopoly piece are you? I'm the thimble. I'm the top hat. In my Monopoly game, ours had a train, and I was always the train, okay? People try to give me the Mandela effect on this one. Sorry, the Mandela effect on this one. There is no Mandela effect. My version of Monopoly came with the train. I played with it 100 times, and it's, I don't know, maybe the 50th anniversary edition or something like that. I'm telling you, it's real. Hold on, this is where you bust out the Google Assistant. Sorry, my bad. Monopoly train piece. Yeah, there it is on Google Images. Right there. Anyway, that brings back some memories. But as I got older, I realized that, you know, when you really look at it, Monopoly doesn't really have that much strategy involved in it, you know? Like, it's really, I know it's called a roll and move game. Oh, well, that's bad, but I'm very happy with Tammy's head, so. Isn't it weird by the way, how I'm excited would normally be a good thing, but it makes your run worse. I'm drowsy would normally, I don't want to say a bad thing, but might not be the best thing for you, and it makes your run better. Anyway, you know, isn't that weird? You start to realize, you know, when you played a lot of Monopoly that, you know... I'm not saying there's not light strategy, but for the most part, I don't think you can really be good or bad at Monopoly. I think it's just what you play when the power goes out. I don't really want to do this. I think we have justification to stick with where we're at. Tammy's Head Brimstone? You don't get that every day. So, like, what else did I play, like, board games-wise, growing up? Honestly, played a lot of Risk as well. And I do like Risk. I think Risk at least has strategy elements. People always make fun of Risk for taking so long, and it can take a long time. But I feel like a lot of the times when I play, like, modern board games, they were designed by people who were like, they thought that the way that you make a good board game is to make something that's twice as long as Risk. So I feel like... Sure, I'll take that. I feel like, you know, when compared to a lot of games, Risk is actually relatively quick. Plus, very easy to understand, which is... If I have a problem with some modern board games, is that it takes, you know, an hour and a half to read the rules, and there's... I'm not going to say it's overcomplicated, but the design lends itself poorly to being played with first-timers, unless you've got other people involved who also know what they're doing. Alright, let's continue moving on here, although we are in a little bit of a dangerous HP situation. And then apart from that, like... Just like the classic, like, little baby board games. Played some Operation. Even as a child, my hands weren't steady enough to have any fun playing that game. You guys ever play Perfection? It's a game where you try to put the shapes back in the proper slots, and if you don't do it fast enough, the board explodes. It's actually pretty fun. I'm not gonna say anything negative about Perfection. And of course, Don't Wake Daddy. The game... I still think there's a little genius in the design of Don't Wake Daddy. If anybody's not familiar, it's a very simple game. Basically, it's roll and move. But you'll land on a spot that is like, oh, you gotta press the alarm clock button 7 times. The thing is, you never know. The object of the game is to not wake your father up, because then he'll be mad and you'll lose the game. But you never know. Sometimes he takes 50 presses to wake up. Sometimes he takes, like, you know, 250 presses to wake up. So you never know, but so, you know, the longer it goes on, you're like, the next press is definitely gonna wake Daddy, and then it does, and you're like, ah, you lose. There was also, I gotta tell you, it's, I feel like, this is not a fair statement necessarily, but a lot of my opinions, I really feel like are right, but people think they're wrong because they haven't actually thought about opinions they've had since they were a child. And specifically, I'm getting on my soapbox here about a game known as Hungry Hungry Hippos, where there are, you know, 1 to 4 players, and a bunch of little marbles are released onto a game board, and then you mash a lever to get your hippo to eat as many of those marbles as possible. I'm telling you, it's a terrible game. It's not a good game. There is no room for personal agency or strategy. Sometimes you get stuck with one of the hippos that, like, your kid cousin spilled juice into, and it's like all sticky and the lever doesn't work quite right, and, you know, your table has a little bit of a roll to one edge, so the red hippo has a huge advantage. I'm not saying it's, you know, it shouldn't exist, but whenever you would be stunned how many times I've brought this opinion up about Hungry Hungry Hippos, and adults have told me, stone-faced, that, like, oh, you hate fun? You don't like Hungry Hungry Hippos? I got a good game. What if we just roll a dice? Whoever rolls the highest number wins. Oh, you mean Dungeons and Dragons? Hey man, that's not fair. There's world building. Anyway. I'm not trying to anger the whole board game population. I'm just saying a lot of the ones from when I was a kid, not that good in my opinion. Battleship, honestly, I haven't played that much of it, but it's kind of a classic. I think we've gone in a good direction with board games over the past couple of decades. Catan, obviously, is a beautiful game. Carcassonne, even though my brain does not handle it very well, it's a lot of fun. Splendor, etc., etc., etc. But a lot of the so-called classics, I'm like, dude, can you just let me go into the right room? Like, this is getting a little absurd. Thank you. I think we're due for a great revisiting of Monopoly, is all I'm saying. That game gets way too much credit for its level of quality. Yes, I know it was originally written as a critique of capitalism, and then has instead become a sick joke, okay? Did you know that Mario's original name was Jumpman? Well, we're sharing facts that supposedly nobody knows, but everybody actually knows if you've been on the internet for any length of time. Wow, that's insane. Jumpman. Imagine that. Super Jumpman. It was this close. Yo, Infestation 2. So good. You know what the world could use? This might be a bit of a weird one. But I'm being real with you. I think the world could use... I'm alright. Well, you know, why not then? We'll just take this, and we'll take this. None of them to use, but at least we got to use credit card for something. In hindsight, that seems kind of dumb. Whatever, it's done. I think the world could use more single-player board games. There's like one single-player game that everybody knows. It's Solitaire. Solitaire is, in my opinion, actually like kind of a decent game. And it's hard to make games, you know, out of like physical stuff, I'm sure, that can only be played by one person. But we got a lot of professional game designers on planet Earth. Surely, like, you know, there's gotta be some single-player board games out there now, right? Sometimes, I'm not saying I would play a single-player board game, but here's the thing. You're like, well, if you're gonna play a single-player board game, why not just play a single-player video game? No, you gotta ask yourself a deeper question. Why play a board game when you could play a video game? And that doesn't mean, it's not meant, I should say, as an insult to board games. It's just that I think every board game should have a digital version, because then I wouldn't have to set it up, I wouldn't have to take it down and put it away, and the rules would enforce themselves, instead of relying on us being like, no, you can't do that, you're not in the initiative phase yet. Anyway. I know it's hard to explain. I like board games. Oh no, I should have looked for the key more. Let's be honest, we're fine. Don't be a baby. Hold on. I hear a cry for help from the other room. Oh, you're changing your bandage? Okay. It's unpleasant. Do you need my help? She said no, she does not need my help. It's a struggle. I understand. Sometimes the bandage can be worse than the injury. Like, she said it's true. I don't want to get into too much detail, but like, if you watch the stream, it gets brought up more there. When I was 16, I had surgery on a sensitive region that I don't know if I can mention without triggering the YouTube Google DeepMind demonetization filter. To correct what's called a hydrocele. It is like I mean, it's a non-serious surgery, let's put it that way. It's basically like a cosmetic surgery, I suppose. But also, you know, it removed a great amount of discomfort in my teenage life as well. The surgery, I mean, we gotta grab this. then we can grab this and forget that. The surgery itself, I have no recollection of. I was under general anesthetic, so I was knocked out. The recovery, I will admit, for a couple of days. I mean, these are good, but I don't want to ruin permanent Polaroid invincibility. For a couple of days, I didn't go to school, and I was in, kind of like a dull ache, like after you get kicked in that same sensitive region. Maybe like an hour later, you have like a testicular hangover. It was like that for like 48 hours. I know you're like, ooh, that sounds bad. I mean, it wasn't pleasant, but at the same time, like, you know, it's not that bad considering what you had done. You know, don't be such a baby about it. The most painful part of the process for sure was like, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 days after the fact. I don't remember the specific timeline, but 5 or 6 days after the fact, I had to take off my surgical dressing, and they were like, just so you know, it's gonna hurt. And I was like, yeah, I believe that. But it, just so you know, it hurt. I had to soak in the bathtub for like an hour to try to loosen some of the glue on the tape. I had, and you know, normally they, I guess, I mean, you're like, why didn't you shave before the procedure? Dude, I don't know, I'm 16 years old. I'm not the head of surgery prep at the urology department. I just do what the doctor tells you. I'll tell you, I'm not sure what they're doing. When I walked in, I put on my hospital gown. They put a mark, like a magic marker, on my leg to be like, this is the one that we're doing surgery on. And I was like, brother, once you're down there, you're not gonna need the mark. It's gonna become self-evident which one you should be doing the work on. But anyway, I was using soaps and lotions, and I got desperate. I was using like shampoos and just, I was like, something has got to counteract the chemical makeup of this glue so that I can actually take the bandages off. But in the end, it was just, you know, a couple of hours of soaking in the bathtub. And being, you know, modestly unpleasant. So here's the thing. I should not be doing this as Azazel with 9 lives, but otherwise the video is going to be like 15 minutes long. So we're going to try. You always start here. You probably want that. Don't really care about that. Sure, okay. I mean, I guess we should have known. I'm drowsy's pretty good, though. Then, definitely want to go with Spoonbender on this one. That's a gimme, and I think neither of those are your principal choice. It's a pretty good assortment of items, though. Hold on. Balls of Steel is in the rotation. Horf, no thank you. Pheromones, no. How many pheromones pills are in this freaking game? 9 different variants of pill right now are pheromones, apparently. Anyway, that's just to say, you know, I recognize the pain of the bandage. It's still, I have to, you know, I've lived a pretty charmed life. I haven't experienced that much physical pain, I suppose. Walking home on my torn meniscus was pretty bad. And then, like, I would probably say number 2 is, like, the day I had my wisdom teeth out, because I didn't get general anesthetic and I was awake during the procedure. I mean, I have no way to know this, right? But I don't believe that I was given an adequate amount of numbing agent. I'm not assuming I took it full force, but definitely, you know, by like hour 2 of the procedure, I was like, dude, there is no way this is the default experience. Please let me in there. I can't afford to lose too much more HP. I do, oh my god. I forgot why I never fight this guy. It's because he sucks and he's not very fun to fight. This is what I get. Should never have messed with it. We had a good thing going. And I said, you know what would be fun? Dying 9 times against Hush as Azazel. Okay, we have been too greedy with it. I will say that without a doubt. I think we can still recover here as long as we tighten up now. Oh my god! Okay, I remember that, of course. And then the surgery debandaging, that's got to be number 3. So I can relate. And the emotional pain, help, from losing Champions of Fire 2 in the semifinals. I don't know if you would count emotional pain on the same scale. But if you do, that's where I'm at. I'm just like, is there a way out of this? Or do we just have to handle the maze here? And then this is where you use the beam attack. And I am forced to run into the array of shots that are, to be honest, in my opinion, completely undodgeable in some positions. You know, it's good to be reminded of why we don't necessarily pursue this line anymore. She came in with a bandage and said, "What does this shape remind you of?" It's kind of like Princess, what's her name? Princess Leia's hair. Ah, I get it. I can sort of see it. How did the wound look when you observed it? Yeah, but like in a medical sense, was it bleeding?
It wasn't bleeding, but it was bloody.
Did it look like it had healed at all? Like even a little bit?
Yeah, I think it healed quite a bit actually.
One second. This is a desperate time for focus. Please just get him! Just get him! He's dead.
Let's go.
Why would I ever fight this guy again? God, I'm so stupid. There was no reason to have done it. That's the last time that'll happen for another 6 months. I can see Princess Leia there.
It like, I don't know, I don't want to get into too much detail. It like healed over the dog.
Yeah. So when you pulled it off, you had to...
My skin off.
Yeah, I understand. Did you hear secondhand my story of bandage removal?
To be honest, I'm with the audience here. I feel like it was your stupidity of not shaving your balls.
That's just ridiculous, though. I was 16.
Yeah, but I was smart when I was 16. I would have shaved it.
Yeah, well, at 27, you chopped off the tip of your finger.
Wow, I was looking here for you! For you! If it was just me, I would have not done that. But I was like, Ryan likes carrot.
Look.
So I'm gonna chop some carrots for my lovely husband.
I do appreciate it.
It was for you.
I did eat some of the carrots. After she had chopped off a little bit of her finger, I ate some of the carrots she had chopped. In my defense, I was very hungry. And the wound care aspect was taken forever, so I had to take what I could get.
You're the next Hannibal.
I mean I didn't eat the flesh. I'm sure there was some trace DNA for sure, but it's okay. Anyway, this run has just flown by. I can't believe I fought Hush. Again, you might think I'm overreacting. You may well be right. That is a trait I have exhibited in the past. But, yeah, I don't really want to do that ever again. I forgot that I kind of hate that, and that maybe one of the reasons I've been able to play so much Isaac is because I don't force myself to do that anymore. So, big ups to every item I had, making it plausible for me to get through there. And let's never do that again. There was some poetry, too, in the way that we almost died, made it out, and then died with respect to the first enemy we encountered after the room. That's how close we were. Anyway, I mean, everything else on this run. Every other enemy, all we had to do was press the spacebar. So maybe it was good that we encountered some sandpaper. For now, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. That was a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I will see you next time. See ya!